What if the reason you don't remember being abducted is because you're not supposed to? What if someone or something is actively deleting parts of your memory? Not just dreams, not just time slips, but entire nights, years, even your sense of who you are. If that thought sends chills down your spine, you're exactly where you need to be. Welcome to Alien Psyche, where we explore the terrifying space where alien encounters and human psychology collide. Subscribe now before you forget we ever had this conversation. Her name was Camille Vargas, 29 years old, freelance photographer, based in rural Arizona. She wasn't into aliens, didn't believe in UFOs, didn't follow conspiracy forums. Her life was simple until she woke up one morning with a bleeding nose, bruises on her wrists, and 6 hours missing from her timeline. She'd gone to bed at 10:47 p.m. She knew this because she posted a photo to Instagram moments before turning out the light. The next thing she remembered, it was 5:22 a.m. She was standing in the middle of her backyard. No shoes, no phone, just one overwhelming thought. I know something happened. Camille did what most people would. She brushed it off. Maybe she sleepwalked. Maybe she blacked out. But then the headaches started. The same time every night, 10:47 p.m. And with them came flashes. Not full dreams, just broken fragments. A bright white hallway with no doors, a figure standing behind her that she could never fully turn to see, a high-pitched sound that filled her skull, not her ears, and always the feeling that someone was watching. She went to a doctor. MRI clean, labs normal. The therapist said it was stress, sleep paralysis, but Camille knew. She began to write the flashes down, a log, and that's when she noticed something terrifying. Her handwriting kept changing, sometimes looping and soft, sometimes sharp, mechanical, like she wasn't the one holding the pen. 2 weeks later, she woke up and her bedroom was rearranged. The bed had been pushed to the opposite wall, her rug turned upside down, and her phone, always on her nightstand, was inside her freezer. No fingerprints, no intruders, just Camille, and a message written in lipstick on her bathroom mirror. You're not supposed to remember. This is where the science gets disturbing. Many abductees report similar patterns: missing time episodes, recurring dreams with environmental consistency, memory gaps filled with emotional triggers, e.g., sudden panic near streetlights, nausea when hearing certain tones, and most chillingly, persistent nosebleeds associated with implants or intrusive procedures. But the most fascinating and terrifying theory? The idea that amnesia isn't a side effect, it's the goal. In many accounts, abductees claim they were shown something, made to remember, and then erased. Hypnotherapists have uncovered cases where subjects recall being told, "You will forget. You must forget. For your own good." So who or what is erasing these memories? And more importantly, why do some fragments still leak through? Camille began to have what she called trigger loops. She'd walk into a certain room, smell a specific brand of soap, or hear a specific note in a song, and suddenly a rush of emotional terror would hit her like a wave. One night, she heard that tone again, high-pitched, synthetic, almost musical. She ran into the bathroom and saw something she'd missed before. Underneath the lipstick message were faint scratches, letters barely visible. It happened more than once. She began searching. Forums, Reddit, old MUFON files. That's when she found others. Dozens, hundreds. People describing exactly what she had. They had never met, never spoken, and yet they shared the same images, same flashbacks, same erased timelines. In her final recorded journal entry before she vanished, Camille whispered into her phone, "They're not taking us. They're taking our memory of being taken. And every time I remember, they come back." Camille wasn't the first, and she wouldn't be the last. As more experiencers came forward, a disturbing pattern began to emerge. Many abductees, especially those who sought regression therapy, uncovered the same sequence of events, buried deep beneath layers of confusion and silence. It always began with a light, usually above the bed, sometimes in the sky, often described as white, but not light as we know it. It didn't shine, it hummed, one woman said. It felt like it was scanning my thoughts, not the room. Then came the immobility. Not physical paralysis, not entirely, but a feeling that the will to move had been turned off. After that, the memories fractured. But under hypnosis, under trauma recall therapy, people started saying the same things, verbatim. There was a room, metallic walls, no windows. There were tall ones behind the short ones. They put something near my head. It pulsed. A voice said, "Forget." And then, total blackout. Not like sleep, not like fainting. Something deeper. Surgical forgetting. Camille started working with a regression specialist. Under hypnosis, she described a long, silent corridor. Her feet weren't touching the floor. She wasn't walking, she was being moved. Then came a room. Cold. Not temperature-wise, emotionally. Figures surrounded her. Thin, angular, faces hidden in shadow. One of them raised a hand and pointed a small, pen-like device toward her face. It flashed, and that's when she would always stop speaking. Every session. Same point, same block. As if something was programmed to shut her down the moment she got too close. Researchers in the field of contact psychology have proposed something radical. That memory erasure during alien abductions follows a predictable, repeatable structure like a protocol. And here's what's terrifying. Some believe the techniques used aren't that different from ones used by intelligence agencies on Earth. Let's break it down. Memory suppression techniques allegedly used. 1. Induced amnesia through frequency modulation. Many abductees describe hearing tones, pitches, or harmonic pulses just before blacking out. These aren't imagined. Some researchers believe certain frequency patterns, infrasound or ultrasonic, can interrupt short-term memory formation. 2. Neurological disruption via pulsed light. The flashing light described by Camille has a real-world cousin. Stroboscopic light therapy. In psychology and military settings, rapid light pulses have been shown to disrupt the hippocampus, the part of the brain that encodes long-term memories. 3. Psychological programming. Even more chilling are the accounts of verbal commands embedded during abduction. Words like, "Forget," "You will sleep," "This didn't happen." Under trance, these phrases often reappear. Repeated, reinforced. This mirrors a psychological technique known as pattern dissociation, a form of trauma response where a mind protects itself by sealing off unbearable experiences. But in these cases, it's not trauma that's hiding the truth. It's external programming. And there's one more method, the one almost no one talks about. Camille mentioned it in a voice recording saved to her phone the night before she vanished. They don't just delete memories, they replace them. You wake up and think you just had a weird dream, but it's not yours, it's theirs. A placeholder, so you don't look deeper. This is called memory substitution, the implanting of a false event over the real one. Imagine you go to bed and have a vivid dream about your childhood home. But what if that dream was a cover, layered over something else, an abduction, an experiment, a conversation with something not human? Camille wasn't dreaming about aliens. She was dreaming about being back in 5th grade, taking a math test. The same dream, over and over, until one day she realized the answers on the paper kept changing, and the teacher wasn't human. Her eyes were too black, too wide, and she never blinked. Camille never made it to her next regression session. Her therapist said she missed the appointment, but left behind a USB drive in a sealed envelope with one sentence scribbled across the label: "If I forget, make them remember." The drive contained hours of recorded notes, voice memos, distorted audio, and a series of sketches that sent chills down the spine of every researcher who saw them. They weren't just symbols. They were maps, not of locations, but memory paths. Her notes detailed an unfolding theory that memories weren't just being erased, but hacked, rerouted, buried, and in rare cases, beginning to resurface on their own. Camille had found a flaw in their system, a crack in the programming. "You can't wipe everything," she said in one voice memo. "Smells leak. Sounds. Emotions, the brain stores them everywhere, not just in the hippocampus. They tried to wipe my mind, but I started remembering with my body. It began with sensory flashes. A metallic taste in her mouth when she touched her doorknob. A cold rush down her spine whenever the streetlight across from her home flickered. The feeling of a hand on her neck when no one was there. And then, the dreams returned. Only now they were incomplete, glitched, fractured, but real. She called them bleed-throughs, the buried memories starting to push through the false ones. "The more I focus on the memory," she whispered in one recording, "the harder it is to hold on to it, like it's covered in oil. But I know the difference now. Real memories hurt. Fake ones feel clean." One night, she tried something radical. She triggered one of her known memory loops on purpose. She turned off all the lights in her house, played a specific tone she had remembered from her hypnosis sessions, and stared into a mirror for 11 minutes. At exactly 10:47 p.m., the time everything started, she fainted. When she woke up, she was on the floor, gasping. And beside her, on the mirror in condensation, was a handprint, one that didn't match her own. And under it, the words, "You remembered." What Camille had rediscovered, unknowingly, was a psychological phenomenon called spontaneous regression recall, when the mind forcibly retrieves suppressed trauma on its own. But unlike human trauma, this wasn't just emotional. It was systemic, enforced, and remembering meant waking up to something you can't unsee. Her memories returned fast after that. She remembered the needle near her eye, the floating sensation above her house, the chorus of identical voices saying, "It is not time yet. She must forget." And she remembered. Others, dozens of them, maybe hundreds, floating in that place, frozen, watching, connected, not restrained, but peacefully silenced. They had stopped resisting. Camille hadn't. Her last recorded message was shaky and fast. "They'll know I remember. They always do. But maybe I wasn't meant to forget. Maybe some of us are supposed to bring it back, not for us, but for the others who can't." If you're watching this, and you've ever lost time, or seen light in your dreams, or felt someone erasing you from the inside out, don't ignore it. Follow it. Fight it. Because the more of us who remember, the harder it is for them to erase us again. Camille disappeared 3 days later. No signs of struggle. Her house locked from the inside. The only clue left behind was a sheet of paper on her desk. A diagram, a swirling spiral, pulsing outward like a black hole, with just 4 words beneath it. "This is where they store us. So what do we do with this? Are these just dreams? Delusions? Or is someone or something truly rewriting our minds?" The science of memory is still in its infancy. And if we are vulnerable to forgetting the most terrifying experiences of our lives, then how can we ever know what's real? Subscribe to Alien Psyche, where we uncover what they tried to bury, erase, and overwrite. Because sometimes, remembering is the most rebellious thing you can do.